Hello and welcome to NoCast by CMUBS, the podcast where knowledge meets inspiration. I'm your host, and I'm here to take you on a journey through ideas, insights, and stories that shape the world of business, research, and innovation. Each episode, we bring you thoughtful conversations, practical wisdom, and perspectives from experts and changemakers. Whether you're a student, a researcher, or simply someone who loves learning, this is your space to explore, grow, and stay inspired. Thank you for tuning in. Let's dive into today's episode and discover something worth knowing.
In the world of e-commerce, it's usually all-out war, right? But what happens when two of the biggest enemies in the game just stop fighting? Today, we are digging into the incredible story of how Chinese giants JD and Tmall made a truce, and what it tells us about when cooperation can be way more powerful than competition.
Seriously, what happens when bitter rivals team up? It sounds like a trick question, maybe something you'd hear in a business class. But for two of the absolute biggest players in China's massive e-commerce market, JD.com and Alibaba's Tmall, this isn't some thought experiment. It's their new reality.
So let's meet our players. On one side, you've got JD.com. They are the logistics kings, famous for getting you your stuff at mind-blowing speeds. And on the other side, there's Tmall, which is kind of like the rodeo drive of the internet. A super curated digital mall for all the world's biggest brands. For years, these two were more than just competitors. They were arch enemies, battling for every single sale.
And to really get how intense this rivalry was, you gotta understand their old strategy. It was all about building these impenetrable digital fortresses. They operated in what we called walled gardens. So imagine this. You're shopping on one site, you go to check out, and you literally can't use your favorite payment app just because it's owned by the competition. That's what it was like. They intentionally walled everything off, locking you into their own little world to control everything from the moment you clicked to the moment the package arrived. But then, in a move that honestly shocked pretty much everyone, the entire game changed.
Suddenly, in 2024, those walls came tumbling down. These rivals started, opening their doors to each other. It was a massive deal, and it left a lot of people scratching their heads. The easy explanation, the one you heard everywhere, was that the government made them do it.
But was that the whole story? Was this really just a case of regulators stepping in and forcing them to play nice? Well, when you dig into the research, into thousands of documents, the real answer is actually a lot more fascinating. And this right here tells the real story. Researchers analyzed a mountain of reports, and you know what words kept popping up? It wasn't regulation or antitrust. It was delivery, payment, quality, and customer service. This whole thing wasn't just a top-down order. It was a revolution from the bottom up, driven by you, the customer.
So what do you even call this kind of strategy, where fierce rivals are suddenly collaborating and competing at the exact same time? Believe it or not, there's a word for it.
It's called coopetition. Yeah, cooperation and competition mashed together. It's this pretty radical idea that you don't always have to be at war with your rivals. You can actually work together in specific areas, like shipping or payments, to make things better for everyone, while still fighting it out on things like product and price.
And this is the perfect way to think about it. The two pizzerias are still going to argue over who has the best pepperoni or the best crust. But by sharing a delivery driver, they both save some cash and, way more importantly, everyone on the block gets their pizza faster and hotter. It's a win-win. That's coopetition.
Okay, so let's look at how this coopetition thing actually worked for JD and Tmall. It really boiled down to two key areas: getting the package to your door and how you pay for it.
First up, logistics. As you can see here, their approaches were polar opposites. JD built its own legendary super-fast delivery network. It's amazing, but also crazy expensive to run. Tmall, on the other hand, used a huge network of partners. That gave them incredible reach, especially to smaller towns, but the quality could be a bit hit or miss. By opening up, a seller on Tmall could now use JD's super-fast shipping, while JD could use Tmall's network to reach new places.
And then there's payments. JD's strategy was always open and flexible. They let you pay with pretty much whatever you wanted. It's all about making it easy for the customer. Tmall, however, wanted to keep you inside their ecosystem, pushing everyone to use their own system, Alipay. This new cooperation means you, the shopper, get way more flexibility, which removes a huge pain point.
So, look, we've talked a lot about corporate strategy and market dynamics, but what does all of this actually mean for you, the person who's just trying to buy something online?
Well, the big takeaway here is really simple, and it's also really powerful.
The whole reason this is happening is because of what you demand. It means you get better service because companies have to meet your expectations for speed and reliability. It means you get more choice in how you pay for things and how they get to you. And maybe most importantly, when companies stop competing by building walls, they have to start competing on the stuff that actually matters, the quality of their products, their prices, and real innovation.
So this all leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. We've seen coopetition completely shake up e-commerce in China, but where else could this work? I mean, think about it. What about streaming services, or ride-sharing apps, or even healthcare? Just imagine what could happen if the biggest players decided to cooperate on the basic stuff so they could focus their energy on competing to make things genuinely better for all of us.
Thank you for joining us on NoCast by CMUBS. We hope today's episode sparked new ideas and inspired your next steps. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to follow our podcast and stay connected so you won't miss the insights, stories, and meaningful discussions coming up next. Until then, keep learning, keep exploring, and see you in the next episode.